Hello, Jag Nation. Each and every week during the football season, we bring you insight into the Jaguar football program. Coach Basil enters his fourth season at Flower Mound, coming off an impressive 8-3 record and an undefeated district championship in 2018. You can subscribe and share this on Apple Podcasts, Spreaker.com, that's Spreaker.com, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and soon on iHeartRadio. This is presented by the Flower Mound Jaguar Football Booster Club. Jag Nation Football with Coach Basil starts now. Thanks for tuning in to another segment of Jag Nation Radio with Coach Brian Basil. Hard to believe we just wrapped up the regular season and now the tournament starts. Postseason football in Texas is like no other. I'm pleased to welcome in Coach Basil. How you doing, Coach?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Man, fantastic. We were just talking. This might be the last day we get this nice for a while. It's sunny and 72 degrees out. It's going to change tomorrow, and I think for at least the first postseason week, the weather might not be too spectacular.
Yeah, that's this time of year. You never know one day to the next.
But the good news is you and the coaching staff are in the field house game planning for the postseason. I had a chance to visit with you last week in your office. I could tell things were clicking pretty well in the program. There were players bouncing around the field house, meaning they had a good bounce in their step, coaches in good spirits, a few parents I was able to visit with. They're all fired up about where the Jags are headed. What is the vibe right now around the field house?
Well, it's exciting. The Button Up program is excited to be in the playoffs back-to-back years, and feel like you're still peaking at the right time, and it's just an exciting time of year. Good to be in working today and preparing for a playoff game, but our guys are really excited, and it's a fun place to be in.
Well, Coach, you come off a blowout win on the road against MacArthur. I know a place that you spent a lot of time there, a total of 13 seasons. For the most part, the starters didn't even play the entire first half. The 2s and 3s were in there, but you still went on to win that one 70-0 in a shutout. I know, hey, you got to be proud of the defense, offense. I think I talked to a couple other folks close to the program. They just said everybody, including the starters, the 2s and 3s, was clicking on all 8 cylinders. So you got to like what you saw in the performance last week.
Yeah. It's a game that we felt, of course, there's still some playoff seeding that comes into play, and who your first round opponent is. So that was a game that was, we felt like, we had to win to put ourselves in the best playoff scenario that we could. And it was important. We felt like we wanted to come out and get off to a great start. MacArthur had, if you go back a few weeks ago to their Hebron game, and it was a 3-3 game, tied at halftime. And earlier in the year against Louisville, I think Louisville scored right before halftime to go up 10-3. So, they're a team that, certainly had some weapons and played some good football. So we felt we wanted to go out and really get off to a good start on them. And we did. We scored our first 2 possessions, and just felt like we wanted to take away any momentum that they may have, and so we jumped out pretty early, which is, it's always nice when you have a game plan and you kind of go out and things go as planned, and so we were able to feel like we put it away there fairly early, and then we're able to rest a lot of our guys. Of course, playing on a Thursday night game and having that extra week of rest anyway going into the playoffs is I think is important, and then coming out healthy and getting our guys some rest was something we felt was going to be advantageous for us to be able to do that, and we're excited we were able to do it. Plus, get a lot of guys, a lot of seniors in the game, guys that work so hard and do everything that's asked of them, and are able to get in there and get some touches, get a significant amount of playing time.
Well, that's always a good thing, and we've talked all season long, Coach. You never know when next man up, somebody has to come out of a game for a series or just an equipment issue or an injury. So it's good to get the reps in. You have some good friends over there on the staff, and I know they know Coach Brian Basil did not do anything intentional to end up 70-0. But any ill will after the game due to the score? Any sour looks or any comments when you went over to shake hands?
No, not anything that I'm aware of. It's one of the things we certainly we're running the clock and running it down as far as we could, and we didn't throw any passes. We had all of our we've got 2 sophomore backup running backs, and those were the guys that were playing and just pretty much running our base zone scheme the whole time. And they turned the ball over a couple of times, which gave us good field position there in the third quarter early on. I think our first 2 out of our first 3 possessions, and that it makes it hard if you're able to run plays at a pretty good clip. We got 2 real good sophomore running backs, and they're going to run hard. And I think that they understand. Of course, it wasn't our goal and intention to certainly get out of hand, but you got to play it out, and your kids go out and play hard, and they deserve to, because they practice, and that's when they go out, there's just one way to play and play hard. And we sure weren't trying to do anything to run up the score, but I think that those guys on their side understood, and we did everything we could to make sure that we stayed within a good sportsmanship type situation.
Well, even when the 2s or even some of the 3s come in, they've worked their butt off all off season, during the season. They know there's a technology out there called Huddle. They want to show some good Huddle tape to be in a position to get the one spot for next season. So they're only going to go at 100%. So no doubt. A couple of stats there. Pierce Hudgens did his thing again. Only 15 carries, 158 yards, 2 TDs. But then you talk about the 2 sophomores, Andrew Moss, Trenton Smiley, both only 7 and 9 touches each, but Moss had 53 yards, Smiley 39 yards, averaging almost 6 yards a carry each. Moss had 2 TDs. Yeah,
those guys are great kids, and certainly excited about those guys here over the next 2 years, and they've really got some good experience being on the varsity and getting some significant playing time. And of course, anytime you get those guys, sophomores, around the seniors, and they see the leadership qualities and the work ethic and the passion that goes into it, and that rubs off. I think that's what we've always wanted to try to do in our program. We've had some really good senior leaders and some great kids. I think our seniors now really benefited from freshman and sophomore years having some good leadership within our program from the upperclassmen. So those things you want to certainly perpetuate, and I think that's how you continue to build tradition and the culture of your program. And those guys are 2 that we're really excited about. Landon Widener's another sophomore that, of course, he's a receiver. So when we're not throwing the ball, and now he played a lot in some games and some pretty significant times there early in the year. So some kids that we are definitely excited about for the future.
Well, in the passing game, you didn't have to throw it a lot, but very efficient. Blake Short, 9 completions on 16 attempts, 187 yards, 4 TDs. I don't even think he finished the first half. And Parker Clark comes in and goes 6 for 6, 50 yards and 1 touchdown. So young Parker Clark got some reps as well.
Yeah, a lot of guys got some work in there, and which is always good.
And then throwing the ball, like I said, you wanted to run the ball a lot, kind of work on that clock based on the situation on the scoreboard. But again, a lot of your receivers get touches. Reed Touchtone leads the way with 5 receptions, 133 yards, 2 TDs. Carson Winters, 3 receptions, 46 yards, 2 TDs. Riley Sanders, 3 catches, 1 TD. Caden Basil had a catch. Dylan Galligan and Cole Gibson as well.
Yeah, a lot of guys got some work in, which that's always fun to watch.
Well, Coach, it looks like everybody's healthy. You mentioned a little bit at the beginning of the show. Any injuries to report? Any nagging, hamstrings or anything? Or is everybody 100% and ready to go?
No, I think this time of year, you got some bumps and bruises, but we're pleased with the shape our team's in right now.
Well, good news. You get round one at home at Neil Wilson Stadium Friday night against the Keller Indians. For a playoff game, that's kind of a big deal. Everybody's comfortable, coming right out of the field house. You got a great setup there where the locker room, the field house is right on campus. You have your stadium is right on campus. So you have to give an advantage to the Flower Mound Jaguars playing at home.
Yeah, well, it's good. I think anytime that you're familiar with your surroundings and you got a big game coming in, and that's you feel like that's an advantage for you. But obviously playing a good Keller football team, I mean that's you're anything you can get that you feel like is going to tip scales in your favor. So we would have been thankful and happy to play anywhere.
Well, Coach, let me ask you, are there any distractions playing at home? Sometimes you get in more of a routine when you have to leave campus early to travel away to play at a neutral site or an away game. Any distractions playing at home?
I don't think so. We've got a routine that we've stuck with since game one, and regardless of the opponent, that stays pretty consistent. So, I do think sometimes on away games, because you have a little bit of the unfamiliarity of it, maybe that tends to focus you a little bit more. But these guys understand what the stakes are, and I think if it was a game where if it was sometimes you worry about maybe things becoming too routine and they don't prepare as well. But that's not going to be the case. It's playoff time, and our guys are excited, and I think the consistency is going to be calming for them. Sometimes you get into those games where your emotions are up and you're ready to go play. I think just the more consistent you have in your routine, the more that tends to relax them a little bit. And I think we want them to be able to relax and focus a little bit more than be amped up too early for the game. Sometimes you get on the bus and you're getting over there and it's still 2 or 3 hours before kickoff, and those emotions start to get ready because hey, we're getting on a bus and we're getting ready to go play. And I like the fact that they're going to be able to have a consistent routine and familiar surroundings, and hopefully that'll help us out.
Coach Basil, what would it mean to your program, these players, the coaching staff, and the fans to win your first playoff game in Flower Mound Jaguar history this week?
Well, when you have an opportunity to do something nobody's done before, that's pretty special. And I think it's important. Our guys, we talked to them about leaving a legacy. And last year we won the first district championship in school history. And, of course, a lot of these guys were part of that. The seniors were a big part of that. And that was pretty special to them. The playoff win, I mean, that's ultimately, as your goal as a program is you want to go win a state championship, and to get there, you got to win, one playoff game at a time. So obviously that puts you one step closer. And but again, I think that was one of the things that our guys really talked about going into the season is they were part of a first district championship. Let's go be part of a first playoff win in school history and leave that legacy. I always tell them that when you're the first to do something, they write stories about you. So we really hope that's a part of the chapter in this 2019 season is getting that first playoff win.
Well, that would be exciting. Well, Coach, just take a look at the Keller Indians. They're 7-3. They finished third in District 5-6A. Like you said, hey, everybody starts 0-0. New season, new tournament, postseason action. So anything's possible. I know y'all have spent some time breaking down film, probably the last couple weeks on Keller. But what really sticks out with the Keller Indians coming in to Neil Wilson Stadium on Friday that your defense is going to have to take care of?
Yeah, well, they're an outstanding team. They're a really good football team. This is their third consecutive playoff appearance, three straight years. So they've come to expect that of their guys, and very, very solid team. They've got a really good running back that he's capable. He's like a 4.4 40 kid, and capable of chewing off huge chunks of yards. I think that's ultimately they take a lot of pride